interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
I want to move on.
No.
Kyle gets really... Kyle's just...
Do you want to go on to these hockey games, or what are we going on
No,
to?
we can't talk about
what
that.
hockey games?
What are you talking about?
That we were talking about? I was hoping to go to Iran. What's going on? You happy that Trump's bombing Iran?
I don't like... It's weird. We were talking about this. I don't have like an opinion on it. Like...
It's a tough one.
Yeah. I feel like Trump bombing Iran is just ironic that we happen to be here tonight.
It
right?
is. It's
Okay.
weird.
Because if we wanted, because
our text
you made a joke about it, but like if you wanted to back up and you wanted me to like
pause.
Yeah.
The joke.
Don't say the joke.
You did not joke
say
about
the
it,
joke. So bad. I felt mortified. I showed my wife and we just rending
the
our
only
clothes.
text I've received from Gary in 12 years.
It's like oil prices go up.
This was, this will come out a week and a half after,
he's not going to stop bombing. So
hopefully it's over by then.
But I think if you back up from the conversation, you know me. I have, from the minute Trump stood up in public, 12 years ago now or more, and said, I'm going to run for president, I'm like, he's got a chance. And I think he's going to shake this country like no one has. And we needed a bull in the china shop. But, and it goes on and everybody will be like, oh, you really? I'm like, okay, do I think the guy is a perfect angel and everything's great? No. But like all these opinions, and I deal with this. I have a ton of Canadian friends. Yeah. And I told Tom on the way here, there's one thing I want to say real politely. If you didn't get the opportunity to vote for or against him, your opinion really doesn't matter. I can't say anything about Canadian politics. Yeah. Because I can't.
I think you're allowed to have an opinion.
I mean, you can, but I'm just saying, it drives me bonkers when people want to argue with me about it. Like, I voted for him all 3 times. I got 2 out of 3 right. The one was a little corrupt.
You got them all right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that simple. Now,
I love it.
I thought his State of the Union was phenomenal. But then they're like, oh, you're biased. But it was. He recognized, the fact that he got that war veteran from Korea up that nobody could talk about and all these things. I'm like, how? I don't know.
Yeah, for me on the outside,
but I am biased, right?
Like I remember watching when Bush invaded Iraq. Like we were camping as a family, and I was like in the little camping room. I was watching Bush give his address. Like as a 9-year-old, I was into this stuff in American politics, and so I've always been following it. And I think Trump did a lot of good, but the war thing confuses me because he specifically campaigned.
He ran
on no more wars,
staying out of other people's countries.
I'm just confused about the fact on that part. Like the debt is higher than ever. You got more problems in the U.S. than ever. Like put the money towards ICE and get the 18,000 terrorists that Biden let in, known terrorists that Biden let in, put the money there instead of helping a country way out in Iran. Like I think it's more of a political move because midterms are coming up and he needs to unite the country.
Have you heard Marco Rubio talk about it at all though?
No, not Marco Rubio.
Like I think he's much more clear about why. Right? They're in that country because they have a lot of intel, right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, I'm aware
of what they know.
Yeah.
So if we don't act, what happens?
But they've been saying that since '95 that they almost had nuclear weapon.
I know that's
and maybe they're wrong.
Yeah.
But if they're right, then it's a good thing.
If they're right, yeah. If it's right. He is a bad dude. I just like the Iranians that they got rid of. Like they are bad dudes. It's just. I know it's a lot of money.
Did you see
that you guys?
I decided to share a few on social media over the weekend, but like these Iranians that are like thanking the U.S. and you're like, so then there's somebody like, oh, we shouldn't be there, and the next one's like, well, they're thanking us. And the video I shared today of those, Kuwait sounds like Kuwait accidentally shot a few fighter jets out of the sky, and you're like, oh boy.
But who do you care more about, the Iranians that are happy now, or the single moms that can't pay for the groceries anymore in the United States? Because
that's where Trump's kind of going back on his word a little bit.
Yeah.
In what way? Sorry, how would he be? Explain that to me, Tom.
So fixing what's in our country rather than global conflicts.
How would you fix what's wrong in your country? Explain that to me. What
well, going to
like?
Iran isn't
like the money you're spending there. Like
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he said.
But anybody that's a Republican is not going to be okay with a cut in defense spending, are they? Or would you guys be okay with a cut?
No, that's what he ran on. Not.
No, he ran hugely on cut. The Republicans. There's a huge vein
More
of
guns always.
No,
No, okay. Well, I guess I'm asking this is the problem I have with people that vote in general. Everybody, or not everybody, the vast majority of a population, whether they be left leaning or right, would say we want balanced budgets. Even people that are pretty far left, a lot of them are pretty fiscally responsible and would think, hey, we got to have balanced budgets. But when you really start to ask a voter, hey, what are we going to cut? Like, what are we actually going to cut?
Did you like what Doge was doing?
I did.
I mean, there again, I think the idea of the chainsaw technique, I mean, granted, the metaphor is probably accurate. There needs to be some serious cutting. But I mean, like, drain it from the swamp. Like, start with, the amount of lobbying dollars that go for sugar, for like, cane farm.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
the richest people always do the best because they have the most firepower to get what they want. And I guess my thought would be, and I just picked on defense because I assumed you were military. And I mean, in our country, even people that are left leaning would agree we should spend more on defense.
Now.
Well, why would you?
General.
You have
I would say even general.
10 years ago, they kept cutting.
I mean, people are pretty big supporters of the military. Of course, they really are now, as if we're going to catch up to the neighbor to the south. But like, it's this idea of like, there's just people, people are becoming militant in that way, right? But I guess my question is
to different countries.
Yeah.
And it definitely changed a lot after Russia invaded Ukraine. Like, all of a sudden, all the countries in Europe started talking about spending money in defense again. Since Trump started
cutting his support for Europe.
That's right. And NATO wasn't spending their 2% of what they owed to NATO. And so the defense spending has gone up a ton, and there has been more support for it.
I think this is an infinitely complex problem.
Yeah. We're not going to figure it out here.
We will.
I wanted to read something, but I'll let you finish.
Okay, but like, I think the tariffs tie in really well to this conversation too. And everybody hates the tariffs, right? Because it creates chaos in pretty much global markets.
Yeah.
But has it not helped that deficit a lot?
I'm not sure.
It's complicated. It
has.
I think it's probably more nuanced than like. I think what happens with tariffs is that for a very prolonged period of time, businesses in other countries will eat some of the losses, and the trade will carry on.
Sure.
But I think a lot of the effect of
short term.
I think a lot of it, the detriment will come and play out much later. Like, for instance, I have a guy I know, shouldn't call him a friend, that's not the right word, but somebody I know pretty well in Abbotsford who owns a big business who ships aluminum siding. Gets aluminum siding into the U.S. Almost 80-90% of the business. Well, the last time I talked to him, it's like, hey, we're eating a lot of it. We're losing money. Well, at some point, they change. They make changes. They find other customers. They try to sell in other parts of the world. And so, I think a pro-American person would say, well, we're just going to start manufacturing this out. That would be the point of the tariff, right?
Yeah,
and I could see that. And I think those days to some degree, just like Canada, I feel like Canada has fallen so far behind. I feel like, are we really going to become I mean, maybe, like, that would be cool. Yeah. But we have so much bureaucracy, so much red tape. There's so many other countries that people will work for, $5 an hour instead of 50. Like, you just everybody here is self-righteous until they got to pay the piper. They're like, I'm not paying that.
I like the attitude of actually fighting to do something, though, even if it's not perfect.
Okay, at least we're doing
because we're getting there, right?
I agree with that.
It's like sometimes with government, you're just like, okay, we can do this, but no, we can't do that.
Okay.
He would have been he's so much better than Kamala ever would have been.
Okay.
Like that's for sure.
I know, and that's where I always feel like when the people that come out swinging against him, like, you really think if you just would have reversed the last election, I think it would have been unreal.
Oh yeah,
nasty, right?
Yeah, it would have been. It would not have been good. But you don't think with this Epstein thing, another thing that he ran on like getting all these names out and him losing support heading into the midterms this November, that like Iran is like, it unites the country. It unites the country, doesn't it? Legitimately, though.
Epstein?
Like MSNBC, they're pro-war now. Everyone's coming together. You can't go after ICE when you're bombing Iran. You can't be upset about ICE when you're bombing Iran. Everyone's like, we're America. We're all together.
So I'm gonna read a piece here from an article today. Dr. Ed Less, who you've had on your show, very very well spoken man, wrote an article today, a brief synopsis of the situation in Iran.
Okay.
He talks, basically starts off by saying how there's supposed to be U.S. congressional approval to do what Trump did, and then talks about how all the times with Truman and and even Obama going into take out Gaddafi in Libya back in 2011, how it's never happened. They just always kind of, presidents do what presidents do. And then he says, all of that is important context given the widespread outrage being leveled at Donald Trump for waging war with Iran without the blessing of Congress. Trump was never likely to seek the congressional stamp of approval. He's well aware of the door cracked open by his predecessors, and he drove an entire war machine through it. The key factor, of course, that his detractors spitting with rage is that Trump is Trump, a man whose notion of diplomacy seems rooted in perpetual truculence, which that word I've never seen before, a man who drives his critics batshit crazy with bombast and bluster. It is foolish to predict with any confidence, of course, that the current fight with Iran will end well. Military forays in the Middle East have a depressing history of descending into endless bloody quagmires. And so, anyways, the article's great. You can post in the show notes the link to his Substack. But it's fascinating how, the only thought I had, I mean, first of all, the guy who he took out's a total animal and probably totally deserved to be taken out. And one factor, and we learned this pretty well at our school we went to, I think, is that throughout the years, like people have been screaming in the last week on the weekend, especially on Twitter, hey, where's the UN? How come we're not doing that? We're not following protocol. The United Nations back all the way to, what was it, the League of Nations in the early 1900s, never has done a thing. They've never taken a stand for the right thing. They always come in after some country, grabs the mantle and does the right thing. So in your sense of kind of like, hey, take action, like I would really struggle with how this was done. And I would have similar say, hey, how is this going to play out? What is the end game here? Yeah. How is this going to play out? But
this compared to Venezuela, I think Venezuela was like
pristine compared to
this.
But this even Venezuela, explain to me Venezuela, going into Venezuela.
I mean, if you're
that guy was a disgusting, just
a horrible person.
We had 2 gals at the greenhouse that brought it up, used like Jose the translator to tell my dad how pumped they were.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
So I get all that, guys, but let's just help me understand this in a world that we live in with however many countries, or 170 countries, or I don't know, maybe more. How do we decide which country gets to go in and assassinate people, and who kind of decides, like, in what sense is, like, how do we come to kind of like globally as the G7? I mean, there again, how do we decide as
I know what you're saying.
I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. I think Trump's not thinking about that. He's thinking about America first. He thinks America's in debt. He wants to get oil from Venezuela. He knows he can control it down there.
100%.
Like,
okay, you guys would agree with all that.
Yeah.
Was it about the oil in Venezuela?
The oil was in play.
Huge.
But I also
just
think
like
he
would
thought it was a good move.
No, I was just thinking about my own pocketbook. I wasn't even thinking about my
I get
country.
what you're saying, because, like, I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I am not in office or anywhere brilliant, right? But he does. I always see these random posts, and I love it because you can have, Kyle post something on Twitter and Tom can, and you can be like, oh, I really like what this person said. But, like, when these people bring up, hey, while you watch the news talk about this is what else happened, and you look it up, and they're not lying about it, and they always refer to it as, like, Trump makes chess moves, right? And I think and then it's like, well, are they right or the wrong? But I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know, like, what, we're in Venezuela? I gotta go catch up, right? That kind of thing.
I like that he's putting America first. I posted this recently after something happened, and I said I wish Carney would put Canada first, and not everywhere else, right? And so I do appreciate that point.
Canada.
Yeah, fight for your own. You have to take care of your own crap first.
It's pretty hard to fight when you're a country with as large of a landmass as us and such a small population.
With a lot of oil we could pump.
Yeah, we do.
But I was trying to look into it more
today,
and I didn't get very far. But I think that, Washington State's politics. We can talk about the country of America, but
it's all over the
mess.
place. Yeah,
we're screwed.
You do have a horrible state.
Oh yeah. Like you guys might be better off right now. I don't. It like
you can carry guns around. So.
Barely.
And you guys are very, like, help me understand. In the U.S., it's very state by state, right?
Yeah,
like state politics play a huge part.
We're pumped Trump's
as much
in,
as you talk about
as much as you talk about helping us right
it's
now.
United countries, basically what it is.
Yeah.
So back to the biggest question, because I guess there was 2 parts of that I struggle with. One is his character, Because like even in the, you just shrug your shoulders. Hey?
Yeah, but he does have the weirdest character, right?
No, but I mean, like even the other night in the speech, I listened to a few minutes of it. Was that the speech you're talking about?
State of the Union.
Yeah, where the U.S. hockey players came out.
Yeah.
2-hour
Why did they
monologue
come
about
in?
how great the man is. Spoken by himself.
Yeah.
It's nauseating, man. It's
Okay,
nauseating.
and
But I would much rather have Trump than Barack Obama, who can speak really nicely and is probably just as bigger of a
Backhanded.
liar,
Yeah.
but he just says it calmly and with an eloquent voice. So everyone's like, "Ooh, it's amazing." Trump's just a shit talker from New York who ran businesses his whole life, didn't have to be in politics, and now he's in politics. So
Like-
try to change a 50-year-old.
I mean, I appreciate the part, and I always have, about finally somebody who just doesn't care what anyone
Yeah.
thinks. 'Cause
Yeah.
most politicians are literally lying all
That's
the
all they
time
live
because they're
for.
just
Exactly.
they're just living for the next vote in.
Yeah. I mean,
And
Trump
he
does
has
lie,
always
but-
he has done everything basically in his power to not get elected again, and he did get elected again, which is kind of
Yeah.
ironic.
Unfortunately, we're never going to get the guy we want in office.
And
No.
why is that? Because it's such a sewer in politics.
No, because
they have two
humans,
systems. Yeah, humans. That too.
sinful humans.
Yeah. You get empowered.
No, but I'm saying
But-
there's men of great integrity in the U.S.
Sure.
There's men of great integrity.
Was
How
Winston
come-
Churchill a man of great integrity?
No, I wouldn't put him in that camp.
He's in the history books as
Yeah.
one of.
If you get to the top, I don't know how you can be a
it-
man of great integrity.
Once you're at the top, you're under a microscope, and you are a
And you are
sinful
going
human.
to chain smoke cigars.
It's too
and drink
bad.
A lot of whiskey.
It's
No,
too
you can
bad
do it,
he's not a
man. You
perfect
can do it.
But if I was a
was
If I
living
become
the dream.
president, I'll come back on the podcast.
let's go. Let's go. I'm in.
Have you ever thought of running for local office or anything in
I
Washington
am the
State?
vice president of the Whatcom County Farm Bureau board.
Let's go.
It's a slippery
Sounds
slope.
like a big board. Farms are leaving Whatcom
Yeah,
County
I
left,
know.
right, and center.
I
in
know,
my
I know.
knowledge. I think you're
Exactly.
chasing them away.
Exactly. Maybe I
Do a
should
better
take-
job.
We got that. We might not. You know,
On to Trump and ICE, though. I like what he's doing there because
Loves ice.
this is specifically
He
what he
loves
campaigned
ICE.
on. He said
He is
said
Canadian.
he said in his campaign, we're going to get these 5 million or 10 million illegals that Biden allowed in out because they're here illegally. They're breaking the law, and so he's fulfilling his promise. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like
Are all the right people being taken out?
probably not perfectly. How do you get 10 million out people out perfectly? I can't even
But,
get my own
like,
kids out of the house
you guys
perfectly.
talk. Hey, you guys talked about this the
That's
other day.
fair.
And in a way, if you really simplify it, they're here illegally.
They broke the law. They're
So
breaking
as
the
a
law.
country, you have every right
Yeah.
to move them out. Like,
It is fascinating grabbing clips there again. If you spend enough time on social media, and I follow enough
Oh,
people where
yeah.
I don't only follow right wing nuts like yourself, Dustin. I follow a few people that are on the other side of the political aisle, and I mean, there's lots of clips of people like Clinton and Obama talking about getting illegal people out of the country. I think everybody, law-abiding American citizens would agree with that. I think the question would be, hey, is it being done in
How?
somewhat of
Yeah.
how is it being done, right?
so I'm going to tell this story as
But
fast
if a
as I
guy's
can.
running away,
Yeah.
get him.
Okay.
If he's not coming out of his house, break the horse down. He's breaking
So-
the law,
So
right?
because he'll never hear of it, and it doesn't matter because he's been deported. But I had a
okay.
kid working for me for like 12 years. His name was Omar. And this past spring,
Ah, la, 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 kaboom.
no, this last
not that
spring,
kind of
Let me just cut that out too.
he got fired over some issues,
Okay.
and find out 3 months later, I get a phone call from him.
Yeah.
He got picked up by ICE.
Okay.
Well, in a real short form, this kid got pulled over for a DUI years ago, and he kind of resisted arrest. So guess what? He put himself on the radar. Now, so he gets deported, right? Because he has a criminal past. He had a little domestic dispute with his early friend, whatever. He gets deported. A gal from the office at the greenhouse goes to help his sister pack up his things. And in the drawer in his house, filled out and not sent, was his dreamer paperwork. Obama gave this guy the opportunity to be here. And you miss the window. And then you have them, oh, I'm so upset I got to. No, he had the opportunity to do it right. Now, do I feel bad for some of them that have been here 30 years and have done no wrong? Yes.
But you're still breaking the law.
You're still breaking the law.
Yeah.
Just because you're doing 37 and a 35, you're still breaking the law.
That's right.
But
Would you help him come back?
yeah, if there was an easy way, but there's really not anymore.
What I find is interesting that he
Nobody's
works.
coming back in our country. They have really tightened up on who's coming in.
But-
Even just people that
But
were
now
here
we have
working
this,
for
like,
years.
H2A program, and you guys have it too. The worker program, the 9-10 month come work, go back is great. That's their way back in. And
What
a
I think
lot
is
of
interesting,
them-
though, you hired an illegal for 12 years.
Yeah, well, guess what? Welcome to Washington State. By law, we're not allowed to question them. But also by law, we're not allowed to hire them. So how would you figure that out?
I know what
Not allowed to
company's
question
getting,
him, but not allowed to hire him.
Yep.
I know what company is getting dropkicked by ICE next week.
Sounds like COVID. Yeah. It sounds like something they said.
Should we talk about vaccines?
Yes, let's do it. I seen a guy vaccinate himself underneath the overpass the other day, and I'm like, how can he do that?
Wow.
Yeah.
I can assure you that he was bent over in the
Probably
fetal position
so
after his vaccination.
You don't think it was vaccinations?
I'm just glad you brought candy, actually.
Guys,
so
nobody wants to watch 4 dudes eat candy on a podcast.
No, this is good.
No.
We're supposed to be on this
Okay,
diet.
so from the American perspective, grill us on Canada. Has it changed in the last 10, 15 years on how...
No, you know what? I do not have the slightest about your politics.
Yeah, you guys don't
And,
care.
Nobody in America cares about Canada. You guys are
some
careless
weird dude
people.
Shoot up a school the other day. I knew about that, right? And I told Tom, I'm like, why would I get to post that on social media? Like, every time it happens in the U.S., I have a comment about it. But, like, I mean, you guys have really strict gun laws. Like,
Exactly.
It proves itself. But it's not a good thing. It's just,
That's
I
what
honestly
the-
do not pay attention. I could not tell you I don't even know who your local leaders are.
I remember it's Rick Mercer.
Do you know who the provincial leader is?
Not who Carney's in or something. I really don't know.
You remember Rick Mercer?
Pierre's a good dude. Him and Trump are going to be buddies. Then we were going to be a superpower. But you guys decided to just shut that down.
Invade us first, 51st day.
It is fascinating. Like, it's fascinating the amount of people in my sphere of people that you're thinking, hey, you seem like a relatively intelligent person, and they voted for the Liberals based on the fact that Mark Carney, people really respect him. He's the Bank of England, England governor.
Okay.
He's the Bank
and the
of
media
Canada
governor.
But if you look
and
at
the media's
him
got
as
his
a
back.
person, is he an intelligent individual?
I think he
he's
is.
fairly
I think
a lot
he
more
is.
intelligent Trudeau.
Oh, 100 times.
He knows how to
we
run
would
a
all
meeting.
agree with that.
He knows how to run a meeting. He has experience.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a step up.
But I don't think he's any better.
It was like
Ironically,
Same,
and
yeah.
so this goes back to the root of what I wanted to ask you guys, because I think that, socially, people tend to veer into a camp where all of a sudden you don't appear to care for people, but like, money doesn't have feelings. And at the end of the day, I think that the root of our issues in our Western culture now are the fact that we run huge deficits, and we think that it does not matter.
So a really smart guy just ran a $90 billion more deficit.
Well, that's where I was going
Mark
with it. And I guess even that's the question I've always asked about Trump. I follow Peter Schiff.
How do you fix it?
I follow Peter Schiff. I don't know if you guys follow him.
Yeah,
American economist. I mean, he's whatever.
But it sounds
very
like over
small
the weekend
doses.
in Washington State, they had it again where 4 or 5 Republicans speak and go, "What do you mean for the state of Washington? You're adding more to the budget and tax more and all this stuff." And they're like, "Where are the cuts?" Like, you're right. Everybody's spending like crazy.
But nobody wants a cut. Nobody's suggesting a good cut.
That makes sense.
It's been a while. Elon.
No,
Elon,
Elon did some.
He did some cutting. But not
enough.
Trillions. I think it was 6 weeks ago. They did defense changed their budget from $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion. I'm assuming anticipating Iran coming up.
Right.
Somebody knew.
So yeah, they know. But
Crank
that's
this
like
up a notch.
$500 billion. Like, wow, that's
I wonder how that does work. You wonder if like they're actually spending that much more because they're flying all the stuff all the time anyways, and there's just a lot of money spent. Or I don't know. Those would be questions that nobody has the answer.
Right.
Do you ever? I feel like you've referenced Dave Ramsey once in a while. But you ever hear him talk about Trump before he admitted on his show that he was going to vote for him?
Yeah.
And he broke it down really simply, and I really liked that. That was like good to hear. Like, so many people like, I hate him, I love him, right? But he just said, no, I want you to take some simple things. Like, there's so many things you can look at, right? And he just real simply went through it and said, if you just agreed with all that, then I think you need to be like myself and I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah.
And his daughter's like, you just said it live that you're like, and
well, if you look at
what does he care?
If you have 2 people to vote for, I mean, it's going to be pretty easy. Yeah. On that side.
I still go back to, like, as a group of Christian men, if you look through the Bible and you had a chance to vote for any of the leaders in the Bible.
Oh yeah, they're pretty sad.
It's pretty rough, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then like now, like you go through all the I don't know all the prime ministers of Canada in history, but all the presidents in history, like which one really stands up as a pillar compared to the rest?
We've in Canada, I will say this, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't agree, but I feel like in my childhood, even left-leaning prime ministers, as much as socially there were certain things they were doing that I would really disagree with, overall, they were pretty decent character individuals.
Okay.
especially for someone that, like, interestingly enough, in Canada, and we learned this in social studies, but in Canada, the prime minister actually probably has more control of the country.
Yeah, way more.
Internally.
Than a president does.
Yeah. Like, even now, there's the screaming about the Congress, and there is certain stops and balances where, like, as long as a prime minister in our country controls the party so much that as long as he's got control of his party in his caucus meetings,
no problem.
And he is a majority government, they can do whatever they want. And they do. I mean, they pass laws. That's why we're in the trouble we're in. Because Trudeau had majorities for so long and such horrible policy changes that are affecting us now. And it's hard to tell people they're losing their jobs, and that's what needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating for me because I use government agencies, they'll remain unnamed, on a regular basis. And over the I've been doing it since 2008, and the employee count in those government agencies has just gone on a 45-degree angle trajectory up, and the service time and everything else is just on the opposite way. Like, just these people are...
They're really busy.
They are puppy makers. I'm telling you, it is a disaster.
I was like too little to even know, but you have older, guys my dad's age or whatever that talk about, or you've heard from, like, my dad even used to joke about it, like Bill Clinton, right? What we know of Bill Clinton, he was just an awful person, right? Yeah. And now it's getting worse and worse. But when he was president, they were like, he was a Democrat.
Bad. Exactly.
He was okay for the economy, and
he was good for the economy.
Yeah,
guys, he was good for
the economy. The minute everybody had to go hard no is all the Monica Lewinsky comes up, and then all of a sudden everybody has to hate him, right? But like, who would ever thought my dad would be like, yeah, that Democrat wasn't bad. What did you say? Like,
Hey, like, sorry. When you were a kid, were they saying that already?
No. I don't remember.
Not now either, though. Either like the guy's a total creep.
Yeah, no. Now, yes, but what they meant is when you had to vote against him, it was like, hey, at least you had, like, he was not horrible. Now you felt like you had Kamala, like, let's not even get started, right?
So Carney would be like Gavin Newsom, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Policy-wise.
I see that.
Yeah. Which is still really bad.
I wouldn't put him in that bad.
Not that bad?
Oh, I hope not. That's tragic. I hope not. You might be right, but hard to compare.
Yeah.
Hard to compare.
New scum.
So I was referencing Rick Mercer before. He used to be a television, CBC radio guy, and he went down to the States one time and interviewed a whole bunch of Americans about America, and like asked them to congratulate them on, like, thank you that you. Congrats that you don't live in igloos anymore, or like just all things about, like, they knew nothing about Canadians.
But that's still a joke, right?
But I think they got Bush even before he became president to say something crazy. But yeah, generally Americans don't know anything about Canadians. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, we know a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, tiny bit.
You reference
compared to your
social studies 11. I snuck through that class.
Yeah, but that was a great class.
No, I don't.
You would, if you went and did it now, you'd love it.
Yeah, probably.
You finally care. It's finally realize how much you missed out on.
The black hand. Didn't he start
Take me back.
Week 1.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy school?
So I enjoyed some of school.
Okay.
In 11th grade or grade 11. Depending on what country you're from.
That was deep. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.